I have created something that will help you improve your English, understand native speakers better, and be able to speak more like a native speaker with an American accent. So I'm going to share with you my screen. I've created a cheat sheet, a fluency cheat sheet that will help you understand native speakers better, as well as speak more like a native speaker. So if you are a patron on Patreon, if you support me on Patreon, you will have this cheat sheet. I will also include it to those who want to sign up to my email list. I'm not sure if this video will be um, posted publicly. This will for sure be on Patreon, but I probably will post this publicly, but I will have a lot of other special exclusive videos for my patrons. All right, so this is not super polished. It's not super professional as a document, but think of it as a friend sharing with you their notes to help you speak better. All right, so something you may or may not know. I'm going to read it and you can repeat after me if you like. Sometimes you might be pronounced as yeah. So you might be pronounced as yeah. I'm going to zoom in here. So, an example, you might hear, see you later. Not see you later. You can, but you might also hear see you later. See you later. I'll talk to you later. Okay. So don't be confused if you hear yeah for you. Another thing, because, because, or because. It can be pronounced as cuz. So I need a cup of coffee because I'm tired. Because I'm tired. I'll put my hand out when you can repeat after me. I need a cup of coffee because I'm tired. Because I'm tired. And you'll notice that I'm going to write on here. You'll notice that the because I'm tired, because I'm tired. So if it's followed by a vowel, right? Consonant sound followed by a vowel, it'll be like, because I'm tired, right? So I'm going to get rid of that. Those drawings there. Next, you'll hear instead of a lot of, which you can definitely say, you might hear a lotta instead of a lot of, a lotta. And I'm spelling it like this just so that you can see how it's pronounced, but not all of these words in this document are actually spelled like that when you're like texting or talking to a friend. Some of them, yes. All right, so that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. So instead of that's a lot of work, it's that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. And then that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. Or I have a lot of work to do today. I have a lot of work to do today. Or do you have a lot of friends? Do you have a lot of friends? A lot of friends. I'm going to get rid of that there. Oh, and we're going to look at the next one. Kind of. Kind of will turn into kinda in spoken English very often. You might also type that if you're speaking to a friend. So I kind of like that. I kind of like that. Kinda. Kind of like that. I kind of like that. Or that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Next, out of. You can say outa or ada. Example. Just before we say it, notice that there is a consonant followed by a vowel. So it's outa. It's out of this world. It's out of this world. Or it's out of this world. It's out of this world. It's Sada. It's out of this world. It's Sauda. It's Sada. I'm going to get rid of the drawings and go to the next one. This is very, 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 very common. And it is going to, that becomes gonna. Okay. So this is something that people will also text and type gonna. So you can definitely do that. And let's practice. So I'm gonna sing at karaoke tonight. I'm gonna sing at karaoke tonight. You can say, are you gonna go? Are you gonna go? Are you gonna go shopping? Are you gonna go shopping? All right. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. But I can do another one. We are gonna go to the party. We are gonna go to the party. Are you gonna go to the party? Are you gonna go to the party? Gonna, gonna. Next, another very common one. Want to will turn into wanna. And this is something that you can type as well and write wanna. Maybe not, of course, not in your English class, but if you're texting a friend. So I want to watch a movie tonight. I want to watch a movie tonight. Do you want to come? Do you want to come? And notice that like turns into in spoken English, like spoken, like casual, connected speech. So I wanna watch a movie tonight. Tonight. I want to watch a movie tonight. So yeah, you can shadow after me and repeat after me. Another one. Got to turns into gotta. Very common. Also, you can text gotta to a friend. It doesn't, it's not weird. So I gotta go. Bye. I gotta go. Bye. Or listen, I gotta go. We'll talk later. Listen, I gotta go. We'll talk later. Okay. Next, another common one. Give me, the V will disappear. Like you won't pronounce it. You can, but in spoken English, we often don't. So gimme, gimme. Eh. It's the short I sound, like an it, like it. And I'm going to say the sentence. Listen for something else. I'm going to do a little connected speech trick that some of you might know. Could you give me that, please? Could you give me that, please? Give me that. Give me that. Could you give me that, please? And did you hear what I said? I did a trick. Something that you hear native speakers do a lot. So when a word ends with a D and the next one starts with a Y, very often we will pronounce a J sound. So you could say, could you give me, oh, sorry, could you give me that, please? Could you give me that, please? Right? I almost said give me because I was slowing down to really pronounce everything. But instead, we'll say, could you? Whoop. I'm going to try to write that out. Could you? Could you give me that, please? Could you give me that, please? And for those who speak Spanish as a first language, there is a difference. Yeah. That's the Y, right? And then the J sound, j, j, j. So like Jesse, Jess, or yes, as in yes, no. So if you don't really have that mastered yet, that would be a good thing to master. And I do have a YouTube video on that. It's tips for a Spanish speaker. So if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll put it in the notes. Next, I guess you can see what it is. Some of you guys may know what that means without me having to scroll to the side, but don't know. Okay. Don't know. Something you might also notice that English speakers will say or pronounce. They might not pronounce the T, but they might also pronounce it as a glottal stop. And I'll put in the description of this video what a glottal stop is. It's when it kind of the air stops, like don't, no, don't. So it's like the T is a glottal stop. Don't, no. Okay. But in this example, I'm not talking about glottal stop anymore. I'm talking about it turning into dunno, 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 dunno. That's don't know or don't know. Do you hear me? I said don't, pronouncing the T, and don't with the glottal stop. Don't know. Turns into don't know. So an example would be, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know. I don't know. Or you might even hear some English speakers more in a casual setting or, with teenagers being, I don't know. I don't know. They kind of drop the D even further. I don't know. I don't know. Without the N. All right, next one. We have yes and no. Okay, so it can turn into yeah, yeah. They both are pronounced the same in my opinion. Yup for yes, and then nope, nah, nah. So we said, yeah, I saw that. Yup, I saw that. So yup, the P. Nah, I don't want to, or I don't wanna. No, I don't wanna. I don't wanna. And don't, remember the glottal stop? Don't wanna. So I'm going to spell that out so you can see that. But um, there we go. So don't, I'm going to put the glottal stop. I don't know what the symbol would be. That would be understandable. So I don't want, no, I don't wanna, nah, I don't wanna, nah, I don't wanna, or I don't wanna. But I feel like if you're going to pronounce the T fully, then you probably will say, I don't want to. So, nah, I don't wanna. And with a don't, it's turns into more of a nasal sound rather than a don't, like you do with don't. When you pronounce the T, pronounce the N. Don't. I don't want to. Okay, that sounds pretty aggressive. No, I don't want to. It could be aggressive or can sound mean. I don't want to. But more light, no, I don't want to. Sounds less aggressive to me. All right, next. You can see down here. But in casual English, instead of the ing sound, there's no N sound, it's the nasal sound. I did a whole video comparing the ng and the n sound. Sorry, you can, if you heard that, but I did a video between the ng sound and the sound. I will link it up in the show notes here or in the cards. So ing, when there's a verb with ing at the end, in casual speech, you'll hear in, whereas the real N sound and your tongue touches here. So again, it's pretty casual. So instead of saying, what are you doing? What are you doing? You'll hear, what are you doing? Or connected speech, what are you? I'm going to write that down actually. What are? What are you doing? What are you doing? N, n. What are you doing? What are you doing? Doing. Okay. So instead of saying going, doing, you could say going, doing. Instead of singing, you can say singing. Instead of saying eating, ing, you could say eating. Where are you eating? Where are you eating? At what restaurant are you eating? Sounds kind of weird, but usually with doing, going, seeing. Are you seeing somebody? Instead of seeing, seeing, right? All right, next one. This is something you will hear very often in connected speech when native speakers are speaking. So we have the word two, right? It's pronounced like the number two, like 1, 2, right? Separately. But in connected speech, when we are using that word in a sentence, very often it will turn into a t sound. T. So we have two, t. And an example would be, I have to go. I have to go, right? Instead of to go, you could, but very often we will say it unstressed. I have to go, right? I need to, I need to see him. I need to, instead of I need to. I need to. I need to go to the washroom. I need to, instead of I need to, right? I have to. I need to. I'm hoping that helps. Next, four, right? Kind of pronounced like 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. Separately, that's how we pronounce it. But in connected speech, in a sentence, very often, unless it's at the end, if it's at the end of the sentence, usually we'll pronounce it as four. In a sentence, usually it's fur. Okay, I put the spelling like this and this just to whatever works best for you, but fur, fur. That's what I'm trying to show when I write them these both like both of these ways. So fur rhymes with her, fur. All right, so this is for you. This is for you, right? And I forgot to say this. This can be written out like this in texting your friends. Texting your friends, this is okay. Texting your friends, this is okay. This is okay too. Ta, we never, we never write it like that. And we don't write for as for. Okay. So not when you're texting, not when you're chatting. So this is for you. And I'm going to write something so that you can see. This is, this is, just to help you with connected speech. So separately, it's this is for, or right, like for you. We're going to say this is, this is for you. This is for you. This is for you. But you could say, like I said, at the end of the sentence, we usually pronounce it fully. Who is this for? Who is this for? Who's this gift for? Oh, this is for you. For you. This is for you. Right? This gift is for you or for you, but in connected speech, you'll hear fur. So don't be confused if you hear fur. Next, and mm, can turn into mm. This is hard for me to do it separately. I'm going to just skip to the examples because it's hard for me to pronounce it separately because it just feels so unnatural. So it's just you and me, you and in. That's what it's like in. You and me. But because there's you and it turns into a kind of an in sound, actually, I will write that down so it's easier. So it's kind of like in, okay? I'm gonna move my video. So you in, it's kind of like you and me. But because there is a U oo sound, it turns into a W just before win. It's just you and me. You and me. It's you and me. Okay. So I should give you an example without the W just because it'll be easier. Do you know the candy M that's supposed to be an and sign, okay? M and M Z. Okay, that actually turns into a Z sound. But the candy, you have Smarties, you have M&Ms, right? M&Ms, 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 right? We don't say M and M's. Do you want some M and M's? That's a little too formal and a little too pronounced, I guess. We usually say M&Ms. Do you want some M&Ms? Do you want do you want some M&Ms? M&Ms, right? So that's an example without the W. All right, get rid of that. Oh, I'll keep that there. It's just you and me, you and me, you and me, you and me. It's not super pronounced when I said that, but so you can say you and me or you and me. It's you and me, right? Now I'm going to get rid of those drawings. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. If you have any questions, of, of, it can turn into right? And I didn't really mention this, but we don't really write this when we're texting or chatting with a friend. It's more just pronounced. Um, more on next. I have, but like I mentioned, we very often kind of say, I have a box instead of box of chocolate. I have a box of chocolate. I feel like it should be an S. A box of chocolates. I might have to change that. I have a box of chocolates. Box, box. And remember the K, it kind of sounds like a k. So for those who find this a new sound, I have a box of chocolates. Connected speech, remember when there is a consonant sound followed by a vowel sound, they will whoop, go together. I have a box of chocolates. Box of chocolates. I have a box of chocolates. Box of chocolates. Have a. I'm not always putting my hands up, but feel free to repeat. I have a. I have a box of box of chocolates. I have a box of chocolates. I have a box of chocolates. He is kind of cool instead of kind of. He's kind of, right? And this we do write out like that. We do write it out like that when we're texting or chatting with a friend, and that's perfectly fine. It's not weird. He's kind of cool. Or box of chocolates. Box of. Next. Can. Can. In spoken English, in connected speech, it's very often pronounced like can. Ken, kin, right? Ken, kin. It says Ken, kin. And I wrote it out like this just because it's easier for some people to see it like that. So unstressed. Again, this is something that we do not write it out like that. Nope, that would be weird. But I'm writing it out like this on this piece of paper so you can see it. So I'm going to do it more like the K-E-N, Ken. Can you call him for me? Okay, and we're actually going to change that because you guys have learned this already. For instead of for. Can you call him for me? Can you call him for me? Ah, you'll notice when I pronounce the H, I will pronounce it for. So, another secret, which we are going to learn later in this document, is in this example, we can actually not pronounce the H. And when we don't pronounce it, it's understood. So, can you call him for me or for me? Call him for me. Yeah. For me, naturally, I say for, sometimes for in this example. So, can you call him for me? Can you call him for me? I'm going to say for. It just feels like it just slides off the tongue for me. For me, this sounds more natural to say call him for me. So, can you call him for me? Oh no, I'm doing for. just, just know that you can say for or for, whatever, in this example. So, can you call him for me? Can you call him for me? Can you? Can you? Can you? Instead of can you, which you can say, can you? Can you call him? Can you call him? Can you call him for me? And I said for, kind of in between there. Can you call him? Can you call him for me? There we go. I'm hoping that helps. And I'm hoping that also lets you see that even for me, for me, I do sometimes say for, I do sometimes say for. It really depends. So can. Next, or. In spoken English, casual, connected speech, you'll hear er. So, do you want this or that? This or, right? Let's remember consonant followed by a vowel. It will it will just glide. Sir, sir, this or that. This or that. Do you want this or that? And let's do more of a glottal. Stop. This will turn more nasally. Do you want this or that? Do you want this or that? Or if you want to pronounce it, do you want this or that? Do you want this or that? Do you want this or that? That instead of right? We're reducing it. We are just pronouncing it like that. It's more lazy. It's lazier, but that's okay. That's what we do. That's what we do when we speak spoken English in sentences, right? So your, your will turn into your, like like when we pronounce it. We do not write it like this. So we do not write it like that. We do not write it like that. We just pronounce it like that. So, what's your name? So we can say your name, but it's easier to say your name. What's your name? What's your name? What's your favorite color? What's your favorite color? Or what's your favorite YouTube channel? And if you're watching this on YouTube, let me know what's your favorite YouTube channel to learn English. So it might be the YouTube channel is in English, or it might be, a teaching channel. What's your favorite YouTube channel in English? Tell us down below. Ooh, do you guys remember what this turns into? So did, right? Did you very often in spoken English, it will turn into a few different things. Did you? Did you? Because do you remember that the D followed by a Y sound, D, Y sound turns into a J sound, J, J, right? A J sound. Did you? It also could turn into Jew. It also can turn into did ya. I know this is crazy. So if you hear people say this, you might be like, what did they say? They said, did you? But like a native speaker in connected speech, casual connected speech, I'm going to make my video smaller, or maybe I'll move it to the side. So I want you to be able to see that. Yeah. I'm going to move it here. There we go. So did you see that? Did you? Did you? Did you see that? Did you? Did you? Remember? Spanish speakers, j, 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 j. Did you? Okay. And then, did you see that? I've also seen some people write Jew as like this. And again, these two ones, actually three ones, we do not write it like that, okay? Same with your. We do not text like that. We do not, you know, we do not write it like that. But did you see that? Did you? Did you see that? And if it helps you, we can even get rid of the I sound. Did you? Did you? Did you? Uh, now, do you see that? Do you see that? Do you see that? And then this is more casual because the yeah instead of you, because do you remember the you in very like casual English, usually around friends, very informal, we'll say yeah. So that's why it turns into did ya. Okay? Did ya? If it helps you to not have the D there, that's okay too. Did ya? Did you see that? Did you see that? Did ya? Right? So did you turns into yeah. Did ya? Did ya? Did you see that? But then taking that a step further, the D and the Y turn into ja. Okay. So that is how and why you're hearing that. All right. So did ya? Or if you want to say, did you eat? Did you eat? Did ya eat? Did you eat? Okay. Did you eat today? Did you eat breakfast? Now you know when people say, did you eat? Did you eat? Next, do you want to? Do you want to? So sometimes when it's like a yes or no question, the do you kind of disappears. So it might be, do you want to or want to? Turns into wanna. Okay. So did you want to turns into wanna. So wanna come with me? Wanna come with me? Wanna come with me to the mall? Remember, to the mall, right? Not to the mall. I mean, you can, but connected speech, you'll hear a lot of native speakers say to the mall, to the mall. Want to come with me to the mall or to the coffee shop? Do you not do? You can say do ya, but want to come to the coffee shop? Want to come to the coffee shop with me? Or want to come with me to the coffee shop? Right. Wanna? Want to go to the baseball game? Want to go to the dance? Want to play a game with me? Right? Wanna is do you want to or want to, which turns into wanna. Okay. I'm actually going to write that out. So want to turns into want to. Want to turns into want to. which turns into wanna. Wanna. Wow. English is pretty difficult, isn't it? It is. Um, all right. And you can even write this down if you've downloaded this document and then you've printed it out. All right. So have gotta. Oh, sorry. I already reduced it. Have got to. One second. I'm just going to plug in my computer because it's dying. All right. So I'm back. So have got to. And then when there's two consonants, like one at the end of the word and the next one at the start of the word, and they're the same, we usually pronounce them together. Like we blend them. Like, I don't know if blending is the right word, but got to. Okay. So for example, I'm going to the butcher store or the butcher shop, sorry, to buy some meat. This is just a random example here. Um, we have some ending with the M sound, the consonant sound. Okay. And then the consonant sound M to start. Some meat, some meat, some meat. Okay. Just so you guys know that. So got to, have got to, turns into gotta. I gotta go to the store today. I gotta go to the store today. Gotta. Ga, gotta. I gotta go. I gotta go. And remember, to, reduced form. I gotta go to the store today. Today. Instead of today. Today. Today, right? We don't really say that in connected speech. Today. I gotta go to the store today. To the store. To the store. To the store today. I gotta go to the butcher store. Butcher shop today to buy some meat. Some meat. Just like the example from before. And wanna, yes, we can type it, we can text it, in chatting with friends. Gotta, people do. They say, I gotta. The next one, we don't, but I'm going to scroll to see what it is. Should have. Okay, so should have turns into should have, which is pronounced like should have. You might see people say should have, which it's not really correct to write it like that, but you might see that. Should have turns into shoulda. Because remember the of turns into a sound. And the L is never pronounced, okay? We do not pronounce it. Nope. So that's why I wrote this out here, just in case it's easier. So shoulda. I shoulda told you sooner. I should have told you sooner. So instead of I should have, it turns into I should have, which turns into I shoulda. I shoulda. I should have told you sooner. Do you know what this can turn into? I'm testing you because I already talked about this a little bit. Told ya. Hmm? Because remember, the d and the y sound turns into j. And you turn into ya. So told ya, right? Told ya. Told ya sooner. D and the Y, y turns into ja. I should have told you sooner. I should have told you sooner. J. Told ya. Told you so. You might hear someone say that. if they told you something and you didn't believe them. And then later when it happens, they say, told you so. So I told you. Next. I'm really hoping you can't hear that much of the background noises and mouth noises, but this is the first time that I'm using this mic. Again, could have. Remember? Don't pronounce the L. Could have, which turns into could have, would have, which turns into would have, and it turns into coulda, woulda. So shoulda, coulda, woulda. I could have given him a lift. I could have given him a lift, meaning I could have driven him somewhere. I could have asked him, do you want a ride? Come into my car. I'll give you a lift. That's what that means. To give someone a lift means to give them a ride, which means to drive them somewhere as a passenger. I would have liked to be invited. I would have liked to be invited. Did you notice that? So liked, okay, when it's followed or when there is a K sound, it'll be pronounced as a T. Liked, and there's TT, two T's. So it's nicely blended together. So I woulda like to be invited. Invited. I woulda liked to be invited. Invited. Accidentally cut off the D. I would have liked to, I would have liked to be invited. Get rid of the drawings here. Okay. I'm going to go through these next ones pretty quickly. It's the same idea. Shouldn't, should not have, shouldn't have, could not have, couldn't have, would not have, wouldn't have. Okay. It turns into shouldn'ta, couldn'ta, wouldn'ta. So I'm going over this quickly. I'm just going to do it like it's really big. I shouldn't have said anything to her. I shouldn't have. I shouldn't have said anything. I shouldn't have said anything to her. Next, I couldn't have said it any better. That means you said that really well. I couldn't have said it any better. I couldn't have said it any better. I wouldn't have done that if I were you. I wouldn't have done that if I were you. I wouldn't have done that. Mm-mm-mm. And this, we do not write it or text it like that, okay? With shouldn't, couldn't, wouldn't. Don't you and won't you. We're going to do that together. Don't you, won't you. Don't ya. Let's do shouldn't you as well. Don't ya, won't ya, shouldn't ya, shouldn't ya. All right. Again, we do not write these like that. Okay. When we're texting, when we're chatting. Don't ya wish you could go? Don't you wish you could go? So it's don't you wish you could go? Don't you wish you could go? Don't you wish you could go? Next. Why won't you tell me what he said? Why won't you tell me? Why won't you tell me what he said? Is it a secret? Is it a secret? Why won't you tell me? Next, shouldn't you be doing your homework? Right? This is what your mom might say, or your teacher. Shouldn't you be doing your homework? Shouldn't you be studying? Shouldn't you? Remember, shouldn't you? And you notice I said your, right? Y-E-R, your homework instead of your homework. Both are okay. You could say your. You could say your sounds easier. It just feels easier. Um, what what do you turns into in spoken English, what ya or what ya? What ya? Yeah, yeah. What ya? All right. So what do you think? What do you think? Is this hard? What do you think? Um, and some of these, when I say them, you might be like, oh, is this real? Listen to a native speaker speak and you'll hear it. You will hear this. So what do you think? This is common in fast, casual speech. Okay. Whatcha? What you think? And this is even more casual and more informal. So what do you think? Or instead of saying, what are you doing? You could say, what are you doing? And I said, in, doing, because it's already casual. What are you doing? Or what are you doing? Ing, nasal. What you doing? What you doing? It's like those birds, the Indian ringnecks, I think they're called. What you doing? What you doing? All right. So what are you doing? What you doing? What did you? What did you? Turns into what'ja. What'ja or what'ja. Okay. They sound pretty similar. They do actually. But I wrote them out differently so that you can see them. Um, just a side note, what do ya? We do not type this. Okay. We do not type this or text this. Whatcha? I think you might. I think you might, but don't. Mm, I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. What'd ya? What'd you do yesterday? What'd ya? Oops. What'd you do yesterday? Casual. What'd ya? What'd you do yesterday? More casual and informal. They kind of sound the same. I don't know if that's necessary to say casual or more casual because technically the j sound is like the D with the j sound. Like it's a anyways, I'm not going to get into that in this video, but it's pretty much the same. So, next thing I want to talk about in casual speech, we drop the do in questions sometimes, especially in yes or no questions where the context makes it clear. Typically, this happens in fast, informal speech, especially in conversational English. So, for example, instead of saying or hearing, do you want to, right? And want to turns into wanna. You might hear, you wanna. So, you wanna go for coffee? You wanna go for coffee? So, notice that I said for coffee. You wanna go for coffee? Do you know, right? We get rid of the do. You know? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? He's funny. You know what I mean? And then, do you have? Drop the do, get rid of the do. You have? You have a minute to talk? You have a minute? I'd like to talk to you. Do you have a minute? Oh, I said the do. You have a minute? Got it. Do you think? No do? You think? You think he's going to ask her out? And I'm going to say he's gonna instead of going to, okay? Because it's just easier for me if I'm going to, make it casual. Might as well. Might as well say gonna make it all casual. You think he's going to ask her out? You think he's going to ask her out? You think he's going to ask her out? I think so. Yes or no? All right. Next, I kind of accidentally already did that. I said ask her, ask her. I didn't say ask her. Why? Why? Why did I say ask her instead of ask her? So a note about unstressed pronouns. These unstressed pronouns, such as him, her, them, he, when pronouns like he, him, her, them follow a word ending with a consonant, the initial H or th, right? Sound is often dropped in fast speech. So him can turn into im. I thanked him yesterday. And I'm going to actually go make this big because there's something I want to bring to your attention. I thanked, okay, remember it's the T sound because, you know, it's not id in this context. It's not d, it's thanked. So I thanked him. So Tim, it looks like Tim, which is actually a name. So I do a capital, but for this example, I'm not. I thanked him yesterday. I thanked him, Tim. I thanked him yesterday. Because remember, when there is a consonant as the last sound in a word, and the next one is a vowel, link them together. I thanked him. I thanked him. I thanked him yesterday. Okay. Next, we have her turns into and called. It ends with a D sound, okay? D sound. Whoop. Trying to draw. I called her, right? I called her. I called her. I called her last week. I called her last week. I called her last week. Called her. Called her. That's in connected speech when everything's connected. And of course, we link them. Called her, right? Called her. Get rid of that. Next. Them. Them. M turns into M. And remember, in connected speech, we're going to link them. It's a consonant followed by a vowel sound. Tell them. Tell them. Tell them the truth. Tell them the truth. Go on. Tell them. Tell them. He can turn into E. But be careful. It's not when you're starting a sentence, you say he, right? But when it's in the middle like this, okay? Instead of saying, where did he go? Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Right? He went somewhere. Where'd he go? Where did he go? Where'd he go? Some other pronunciation patterns and hacks. Understanding these patterns will help you understand native speakers and to speak more fluently with more of an American accent. When there is a sound, when there's a word that ends with a T sound and starts with a Y sound, it turns into a ch sound. An example would be, I want you, right? So maybe I want you to tell me. I want you to tell me something. I'm not going to write this all out because it is hard to type. So t ends with a T, starts with a Y. We're going to make a CH sound. So instead of saying I want you, I want you. I want you. I want you to tell me. I want you to tell me. Okay? I want you. Remember, we talked about did you, right? Did you? This is, yeah, there we go. Did you? Turns into did you, right? Did you? We already went over that, but I'm just going to give a quick refresher. That's an example. If you click there, you can watch a YouTube video on that. Click there, you can watch a YouTube video on it. TR in a word. Very often, Not everyone does this, but it's very common in casual and natural speech. It might, most likely, will be pronounced as a ch sound and a r sound. So, for example, this word here, try, right? Try instead of try. Try. It feels weird for me to say it like a T. Try. All right. For example, this city here. Some people might say Toronto. Toronto, I think. Feels so weird to say that. I say Toronto. 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 I believe locals will say it differently, like Tirana, Toronto, or something like that. But I say Toronto. 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 Right? Sometimes I'll pronounce the T here, sometimes I won't. And get rid of the drawings. Oh, did you hear me say that? Did you hear me say that? Did you hear me say that? I just used this. Drawings. Mm, same thing. When there's a DR, very often, for me at least, the, I'll pronounce it as a J, and an R sound. For example, like I said, I'm going to remove the drawings. So instead of saying draw, I think that's how some people might say it, I guess. It feels weird. I'm going to say draw. I'm going to draw on the screen. Again, not everyone does this, but it's very common in casual and natural speech. I don't have a video on this, but you know, I think there are probably a lot of videos on this, and I'll update this if I make a video. I'll try to remember. I'll try to remember. Try. And then if you download this resource, I have a bunch of other resources that you might like here. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask down below. And I'm hoping this was helpful and this will help you improve your English, sound more like an American, a native speaker with an American accent. And I will put some videos here if you want to continue practicing your English.